Have you ever made a major life decision based on a gut feeling? Or wondered if you were listening to deep inner wisdom or just yesterday's questionable tacos? Today, we're unpacking the mind-blowing science of the enteric nervous system. We'll explore how 500 million neurons living in your digestive tract are quietly pulling the strings on your anxiety, your energy levels, and even your Sunday afternoon choices. Stick around because your gut is talking, and it's time to listen. Welcome to the Due to Expire podcast. I'm your host, Corey Kennard. Now, let's grow. Before we get started, I want to let you know that this episode is presented by the No Negative Energy Life brand, a life coaching resource and media edutainment outlet that seeks to help human beings to consciously expose and diminish the impact of negative thoughts and ultimately replace them with positive ways of thinking that will increase one's ability to thrive. Check us out at nonegative.energy. That's no negative, all one phrase. Energy. I would now like to ask you to nod your head if you've had butterflies in your stomach before a big presentation. Now, I want you to keep nodding if you've ever felt sick to your stomach after receiving bad news, or maybe made a massive life decision like quitting a job or starting a relationship simply because you had a gut feeling. Most, if not all of us, should be nodding right now. Now ask yourself, why do we attribute deep intuitive wisdom to an organ system that we otherwise treat like a garbage disposal? We stuff it with espresso, late night drive-through, and whatever questionable leftover taco was sitting in the back of the fridge. And then we turn around and ask it, hey, should I actually move to Chicago? For decades, modern medicine treated the gastrointestinal tract as a simple biological plumbing system. You put food in the top, chemical processing happens in the middle, and then waste comes out at the bottom. End of story. But modern neuroscience has revealed something very wild. You do not have just one brain, my friends. You have a complex, decentralized neural network running right through your torso. Your gut isn't just digesting your lunch. It is actively processing emotion, dictating your energy levels, and influencing choices you think you are making with your conscious mind. Now, to understand how this works, we have to look at the enteric nervous system, or what we would call ENS. Embedded directly in the tissue lining, your entire digestive tract, from your esophagus all the way down, is a mesh-like network of roughly 200 to 600 million neurons. Now, to put that into perspective, your gut contains more neurons than the entire spinal cord in your body. It has more nerve cells than a cat's brain. And here's the kicker. The ENS is completely autonomous. So if a surgeon were to literally sever the main highway connecting your brain to your gut would just keep right on ticking. It would contract, digest, absorb nutrients, and manage local reflexes without missing a beat. If your brain in your skull is the CEO of a Fortune 500 company, then your gut is the rogue vice president of operations. It doesn't check email, it doesn't care about the corporate memo, and it operates with complete executive authority down in its own division. So how do these two brains actually talk to each other? They use a high-speed fiber optic cable known as the cranial nerve X, or the vagus nerve. Vagus comes from the Latin word for wandering. Think about the word vagabond. Because this nerve wanders down from your brainstem and weaves itself through all your major organs with a massive concentration in your gut, it is very vital. Now, for a long time, scientists assumed the main brain was sending all the orders down. They thought it was saying something like, "Hey, gut, release some acid. Hey, gut, move this food along." But when researchers actually mapped the traffic flow, they found something very shocking. 80% to 90% of the nerve fibers in the vagus nerve are sending signals upward from the gut to the brain. Think about that. Your gut is talking to your skull 9 times more than your skull is talking to your gut. When you feel a gut feeling, it isn't an imaginary metaphor. It is your enteric nervous system sending a high-priority telegram up the vagus highway saying, "Hey, boss, something down here feels off. Change your mood immediately." Now let's talk about the chemistry of all this. If I ask you where serotonin, the famous feel-good molecule that stabilizes our mood, sleep, and happiness, is produced, you'd probably point to your head. And you'd mostly be wrong. Only about 5 to 10% of your body's serotonin is located in your central nervous system. The remaining 90 to 95% is synthesized right down in your gut by specialized cells called enterochromaffin cells. And who is running the factory? Your microbiome, or the trillions of bacteria living inside you. Specific gut microbes produce signal molecules that tell your body to turn on the production of serotonin. Now, I know this sounds like a chemistry and biology class, but stick with me, because it doesn't stop there. Up to 50% of your body's dopamine, the chemical driving motivation, reward, and focus, is generated in the gut. Furthermore, strains of bacteria like lactobacillus and bifidobacterium actively synthesize GABA, or gamma-aminobutyric acid. GABA, which we'll call GABA, is the nervous system's natural brakes. It's the neurotransmitter that quiets racing thoughts and lowers anxiety. So the next time you're sitting on the couch at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday, feeling a sudden wave of existential dread, pause for a second. It might not be an existential crisis. It might literally just be your bifidobacteria waving a flag saying, "Hey, we ran out of fiber 3 days ago and we can't make your calming chemicals. So, how do these microbes translate what you feed them into actual brain function? The key lies in short-chain fatty acids, or SCFAs. When you eat complex plant fibers, your body can't digest on its own. Your gut bacteria feast on them in a process called fermentation. Through this fermentation, they produce beneficial compounds, primarily acetate, propionate, and butyrate. Now, butyrate in particular is a biochemical superhero. It strengthens the physical lining of your gut, making sure toxins stay inside the digestive tract where they belong. But it also crosses into your bloodstream and travels up the brain, where it protects the blood-brain barrier and calms your microglia. These are the immune system cells of the brain. When microglial cells get inflamed, you experience brain fog, low mood, and fatigue. Butyrate acts like a soothing, cool breeze for an overheated brain. To prove how direct this connection is, scientists conducted a famous landmark study with mice. Now get this. They took a strain of mice that were genetically timid and anxious, and a strain of mice that were bold and adventurous. They cleared out their microbiomes and swapped them. They gave the anxious mice the gut bacteria of the bold mice and vice versa. What happened? The timid mice instantly became adventurous daredevils. And the bold mice, well, they turned into nervous recluses. By simply swapping out their gut bacteria, researchers completely flipped their behavioral personalities. Wow. You see, you aren't just what you eat. You are how your microbes react to what you eat. Now let's look at the metabolic control and the 2 p.m. energy slump. This is something we've all experienced. The dreaded 2 p.m. wall. You had a heavy, ultra-processed lunch, and an hour later, your brain feels like it was stuffed with wet cotton. What is happening biologically? When you consistently eat ultra-processed foods, high in refined sugars and unhealthy fats, it damages the delicate mucosal lining of your intestine. Now, this creates a hyperpermeable gut wall, often referred to as leaky gut. When the gut becomes permeable, fragments of bacterial cell walls, specifically a compound called lipopolysaccharides, or LPS. I know it's a long, deep word there, right? What the LPS does is it leaks out of the gut and enters into your bloodstream. Your immune system then sees LPS in the blood and thinks we are under biological attack. Now, it launches then a systematic inflammatory response. Your brain senses this systemic inflammation through specialized pathways and initiates what neuroscientists call sickness behavior. Now, in nature, if an animal is infected, sickness behavior forces it to stop hunting, curl up in a cave, and conserve energy to fight the infection. In modern life, though, you aren't infected. You just ate a double cheeseburger with a giant soda. But your brain doesn't know the difference. It triggers the exact same sickness protocol: fatigue, zero motivation, and brain fog. You didn't lose your drive to succeed after lunch. Your immune system is currently waging a full-scale medieval war against your cheeseburger. Now, this brings us to how the gut controls our daily decisions. Neuroscientist Antonio Damasio proposed a brilliant framework known as the somatic marker hypothesis. For a long time, economists and psychologists assumed humans make decisions like computers, weighing pros and cons on a purely logical balance sheet. Damasio proved that human logic is far too slow for the real world. Instead, when faced with a complex choice, your brain rapidly searches its memory bank for past experiences and triggers a physical bodily state, a somatic marker. Before your conscious brain has even finished processing the options, your gut contracts, your heart rate shifts, and your enteric nervous system sends a physical ping up the vagus nerve, saying, "This feels dangerous," or "This feels really safe." You don't make decisions despite your gut feelings. You make decisions using your gut feelings as a biological shortcut. People with a high vagal tone, meaning a healthy responsive vagus nerve, show superior heart rate variability, or HRV. They recover faster from acute stress. They process emotional input more accurately and demonstrate sharper executive decision-making under high pressure. When your second brain is healthy, your primary brain can then think clearly. So how do we fix the machinery? How do we train our second brain to give us better energy, stable mood, and clear intuition? Well, here are 4 science-backed protocols you can start applying immediately. Protocol number 1: aim for 30+ unique plants a week. I put emphasis on aim. Don't just focus on eating veggies. Focus on diversity. Research shows that individuals who consume 30 or more distinct plant species per week, including vegetables, fruits, nuts, seeds, herbs, and spices, have significantly more diverse microbiomes than those who eat fewer than 10. Diversity in feed equals diversity in microbiome armor. Protocol number 2: introduce daily fermented foods. Instead of spending a small fortune on fancy probiotic pills that might not even survive stomach acid, rely on whole fermented foods, incorporating small daily servings of kefir or kefir, plain yogurt, sauerkraut, kimchi, or kombucha actively seeds the gut with live beneficial bacteria that upregulate GABA and serotonin production. And then there's protocol number 3. Protect your migrating motor complex. Did you know, or did you have any idea that your gut has a built-in self-cleaning cycle called the migrating motor complex? It acts like a biological street sweeper. It serves to push residual food and excess bacteria down the line. But here's the catch. The MMC only turns on when you are fasting. Oh. You see, if you graze continuously, if you eat all the time from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m., the street sweeper, the MMC, never turns on. Give your gut a 12 to 14 hour rest overnight. For example, finishing dinner by 7 p.m. and then waiting to eat breakfast at 9 a.m. the next morning. This allows the cleanup crew to go to work. And then protocol number 4. Train your vagal tone. You can physically stimulate your vagus nerve to reduce anxiety and reset your nervous system. Simple practices like cold water facial immersions, slow diaphragmatic breathing. This is where your exhalation is twice as long as your inhalation. And even loud humming or singing physically vibrate the vagal pathways in your throat, sending an immediate signal down your gut that says the crisis is over and we are safe. Many people experience this during meditation. Now, to wrap everything up, your brain does not sit in an isolated ivory tower atop your neck, dictating orders to a passive body. It exists in an intricate, continuous conversation with 30 trillion microscopic co-pilots residing in your digestive tract. They are influencing your anxiety on Monday morning, your energy levels on Wednesday afternoon, and your intuitive choices that you make on Friday night. When you care for your gut, you aren't just optimizing digestion. You are tuning your mind, sharpening your edge, and learning to listen to the most ancient, reliable, biological compass you possess, your gut instinct. I want to thank you for listening today. And from my gut, I am grateful for you. I'm your host, Corey Kennard.